Alright, welcome back 4th grade students. Missing you guys like crazy, as always. I hope you're doing well. I hope you had a great spring break. I know that you were really limited in what you were probably able to do over spring break this year, but still nice to be able to just kind of take a breather from the schoolwork and have some time to just rest, relax, and have some fun. So I hope you all enjoyed it. We're going to go ahead and jump right into this week's science lesson. This is Science Week 6. Let me go ahead and do our shout-outs. So we had a question last week at the end of our science video for week 5, and the question was, what function do the roots provide? And specifically what I was looking for was what other function, other than what we went over in the video, do the roots provide? And the answer to that could be varied, so I was accepting any of them. The roots take in water. They take in water and nutrients from the soil. And this is a major reason why if you're watering plants, you really don't have to worry about watering the leaves or the flowers themselves. You want to make sure that you're getting the soil wet because that's where the roots are going to pull the water and nutrients in from. They also help to anchor and hold the plant in place. This prevents them from being blown away, dragged away by animals, anything like that. But the other function that they provide is they actually hold the soil in place. And this is really important because plants holding the soil in place helps to prevent soil erosion. This is why we were doing our big plant project in class where we were growing our wetlands plants. Unfortunately, we didn't get to finish that, but the whole purpose of that was to be able to donate those back to the Elizabeth River Project so that they could plant them on the shorelines and the wetlands. And what those roots of those plants would do is help to hold that soil in place so that it does not get eroded, washed, or blown away quite as easily. So, shout out to Aurelia, to Avonlea, and to Sophia for commenting their answers and responses to that question. You all were correct. Thank you so much. Also, shout out to Fareed and Peyton. I saw your comments. Miss you guys so much. Glad you're watching. All right, let's go ahead and jump in. Starting with Monday. So with Monday, we're still looking at the same plant PowerPoint. Has all the information that we needed for our questions, and the questions are pretty simple. Some of them are even a little bit repetitive, so we'll go through this kind of quickly. Monday's first question was, what vital process happens in the leaves of the plant? And that process is photosynthesis. That's what the name of that process is, and we'll answer the questions that come for the next few days so that we can kind of unpack what photosynthesis really is, how it takes place. Number 2 says, what would happen if you removed all of the leaves from the plant? Well, the basic answer to this is without the leaves, the plant cannot go through that process of photosynthesis. All of what the plant needs to do photosynthesis needs to take place in the leaves. If we remove the leaves from the plant, we remove the plant's ability to make food for itself. So the plant would unfortunately die if we removed all the leaves from it. Tuesday. Number 1, what does a plant need to carry out photosynthesis? So there are a lot of different ways you could have answered this. Specifically, what we're thinking of is the ingredients. What ingredients do plants need to carry out this process of photosynthesis? Number 1 is going to be, of course, water. They're going to need water. All plants, all living things need moisture, need water. So that's going to be one of the most important things. Sunlight is going to be the next thing, so access to sunlight. And because of plant adaptations, certain plants need more sunlight than others, just depending on what kind of plant they are and what the plant's needs are. And then the third ingredient that plants need for photosynthesis is carbon dioxide, CO2. This is a molecule made up of 1 carbon atom and 2 oxygen atoms connected together. All of those together create this gas called CO2. And animals actually exhale this. All animals, when we breathe, our process of respiration, of breathing, taking oxygen in. When we inhale, we breathe in oxygen. When we exhale, we breathe out carbon dioxide. Number 2, what does a plant give off during photosynthesis? So this is another kind of general question that could be answered in a couple different ways, but the big thing that we are looking for here is oxygen. They take in carbon dioxide for photosynthesis, and in the process, they give out oxygen. Wednesday, number 1. What does a plant make during photosynthesis? Again, this question is kind of similar to Tuesday's number 2 question. What does a plant make? And really what it's doing is it's making food. It's making food for itself. Yes, plants do pull in water and some nutrients and minerals from the soil, but it actually needs some sort of food source in order to sustain itself and to live and survive. And so the process of photosynthesis in plants helps them to produce food for themselves. And number two, what is the substance in the leaves that captures energy from the sun? Ancient cultures all around the world often worshipped the sun. This was something that played into a lot of their religious beliefs, and a big part of that is because they were able to see that there was a direct relationship between the sun and life. These substances inside of the leaves that capture that energy from the sun are called chlorophyll. Thursday, number 1, it says what gas is needed for photosynthesis and what gas is given off. We've already been over this with some of the other questions. So the gas that is needed, the plants need to take in carbon dioxide. It's abbreviated and we call it CO2. One atom of carbon combined with 2 atoms of oxygen. And then the plant is going to give off oxygen, O2. The breathable oxygen that we breathe in is 2 oxygen atoms connected together. Oxygen, O2. And then the second question, last question for Thursday, is the food that the plants make is a sugar. More scientifically, that sugar is known as glucose. It's not quite the same as the white refined sugar that maybe you've seen your parents putting in their coffee or that you might use in baking or cooking, but it's similar. Glucose is in refined sugar that we eat. So the food that the plant is making is sugar, also known as glucose. So for Friday, what you were tasked with doing was creating a diagram that shows this process, that illustrates this process. You were supposed to use arrows and labels, and then you were supposed to write a paragraph that summarizes the process of photosynthesis. Your diagram could have looked a little bit something like this. And what you'll see in this diagram is you can see the plant, you can see how its roots are anchored into the soil, and it shows us how the sunlight and the carbon dioxide are absorbed into the plant, and then in the leaves, the plant combines the sunlight with the carbon dioxide and the water, of course, that it pulls in with its roots and uses that to produce the glucose that it needs for food. So your diagram could look a little bit something like this, as long as you have all of these ingredients. So you obviously want to have your plant. You want to be able to see the sunlight coming in and being absorbed by the plant. You want to see that CO2, carbon dioxide, is coming into and being absorbed by the plant. And then you want to see that the process on the other end of this is that it creates sugar in the form of glucose, and it also produces oxygen. So we should see all of those things in your diagram. Right, here's our challenge question, and this is a little bit of a tricky one, so I do not mind if you talk with your parents, grandparents, grandmas, grandpas, aunts, uncles, whoever you live with. I don't even mind if you use the internet to see if you can search for an answer to this question. Here's our challenge question for this week. Inside of leaves, there is a little structure called chlorophyll. That chlorophyll captures the energy from the sun. Human beings have structures inside of our skin as well, and these structures are responsible for capturing the light of the sun, but they're really more so responsible for protecting our skin from the harmful ultraviolet rays of the sun. My question to you is, what is the name of this substance inside of human beings, specifically in our skin, that helps to capture the energy from the sun, but also helps to block the harmful ultraviolet rays of the sun? What is that structure or substance called in humans? If you have an answer for that, make sure you comment. I don't mind if you seek out some outside resources for this, see if you can make a comparison. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'll see you next time. Bye.